So thank you all so much for joining for What's the Big Deal erVault, presented by Authenticom. My name is Michelle Phelps. I run the sales department here at Authenticom. I talk to new and existing vendors and dealers in our industry about our suite of products and how we can help, solve those needs and streamline data processes for all of our partners. Presenting with me is Alicia Bolin. Alicia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I am the Product Experience Coordinator here at Authenticom. I've been here for about 6.5 years, and the main focus of my role is getting a pulse on the internal and external user experience of our products and working close with the rest of my team to implement improvements as needed.
Thanks, Alicia. So quickly about Authenticom, we've been in business since 2002, which was founded by our amazing CEO and President, Steve Cottrell. We work with over 12,000 dealers and over 400 vendors in the US and Canada to help solve various needs in terms of data transfer, hygiene, syndication. And as much as I'd love to talk about all of our products, today we're going to focus on erVault and how we can help solve some of the risks within your dealership today. Like I said earlier, I'll try to make this short and sweet. We only have about 35 minutes. We have a few polls that will be presented throughout our presentation to keep you guys on your toes. If anybody has any questions throughout, feel free to put them in the Q&A portion of the webinar, and we will address them at the end. So jumping into the agenda, we're going to talk briefly about some changes within the automotive sector, some risks within your dealership, and then how to mitigate some of those risks and help streamline your business processes. So jumping in. As we know, technology is rapidly changing across every industry, every sector, everywhere in the country, and how we should manage our data should be no different. Back in the day, you didn't have the data access you do now to drive ROI in your dealerships. We had those big flashy ads which you put in the local newspaper to bring clients in to look at your new inventory. That's all transformed now. Social media was a huge game changer. We can connect and target individuals with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram ads, all based on browsing behaviors, and get in front of customers with live videos and ads at precisely the right time people are looking to buy. We have layered applications sitting right on your local PC to give you things like equity mining and a deeper understanding of who that next person to walk through your door is going to be. Gone are the manual paper processes that are so cumbersome, sending clients flyers in the mail. These items are now all autonomous and done through third-party vendors. Honestly, data has changed as a whole. You can sit back and focus on what you do, which is selling cars. You can grant access to your other partners that you trust to give you the visibility and data you need to do just that. Now, try not to bore you guys with a bunch of legal talk, and I'm definitely not smart enough to be a lawyer. But in response to the technology evolving, the laws that affect us in dealing with customer data are adapting as well. A precursor to CCPA is Europe's GDPR. We've seen enforcement examples last year from 2019 under GDPR that included fines of more than 100 million, against Marriott hotels and British Airways. Those same types of data regulations have now made their way to the US, and there's some hefty fines you could be facing. So let's do a quick poll here. I want to know how you guys are handling CCPA data laws right now. I'll give you guys just a couple of seconds to go ahead and answer this. Okay. Hopefully everybody got a chance to answer that. Let's take a look at the results here. So functionality within your DMS, it's great. Manual processes, looks like other. So there could be some things out there that we don't really know, that you guys are handling CCPA. CCPA, we all know, is a California Consumer Privacy Act. It was basically passed because customers want control over their data and PII. The who, what, why behind the scenes of many basic transactions when it comes to data. I won't go crazy into details on CCPA because you should all know what the criteria are already. But a couple of other states that have passed data laws are Arizona and Montana. It's really just a matter of time before other states fall into place, and these types of regulations bump up to the federal level. Now, getting a bit nerdy on you guys here, but just like Uncle Ben says to Peter Parker and Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. The more technology we have, the more responsibility we have to protect that data, ensure we are leveraging technologies which helps us be compliant and ensure we do not have the liability with management of our data. Let's be honest, the downside can be a bit more scary when we start thinking about imposing fines for noncompliance. As an industry, we need to be educated on our options outside of certifications of data movement, especially when it comes to third-party integrations who support innovations and those possibilities to streamline the operations of our data transfer. This will help you reduce dependency on high-priced alternatives, which do nothing at the end of the day for your bottom line. You should all be asking yourselves, why is data important to your dealership? You need to ensure you're working with partners that have platforms designed so your staff can do their jobs, rather than providing roadblocks and delays that just cause frustration across the board. Make sure each one of your data partners are providing you with true ROI, and I can't stress enough, trackable, that word trackable, analytics to help streamline your operational processes so you can do your jobs better and make smarter decisions faster. So let's really talk about what's the big deal. One of the biggest risks we see when it comes to data is that most dealerships have no idea where their data is going. When somebody comes into your dealership and sells you a new fancy tool, do you know exactly what data they're going to receive? I've seen so many cases when I talk with dealers that had no idea that the vendor was pulling their entire DMS. And when I say entire, I mean accounting, payroll information from your staff. Or they've been receiving data for years after you've stopped working with that vendor. Think about that, what that vendor could have been doing with that customer list. We all watch the news and have seen so many times where a vendor in our industry was busted for using data they shouldn't have had access to, or sold it to somebody else down the road. And those situations are just on the outside. You could also have some internal risk. You could have an employee which no longer works at your dealership that still has access to your data. I mean, imagine what would happen if they logged on and downloaded your customer list. Think of the liability just there. So here at Authenticom, we've developed a product where we believe that the security of your data, it's important to you guys. We believe that dealerships should own their data and have the right to share it with any solution provider of their choice in a consistent and reliable way. So now let's talk about how DealerVault helps with mitigating some of the risks we talked about. I could sit here and talk about DealerVault all day, but we're going to talk about the 5 most important things. But first, I want to do a quick poll here to see what is important to you guys in your dealerships. We have visibility, control, access, or innovation. Give you guys a couple seconds here. Okay, let's see the results. Visibility and control. Control over your data. That does not surprise me that that one had won. We will get into that in just a little bit, but first I want to start with security. So we've developed our DealerVault product by leveraging the most secure cloud environment, Microsoft Azure. It has the largest portfolio of compliance offerings in the industry, and they invest over $1 billion per year in security alone to help protect customers' data. All data is also transferred in a secure FTP fashion, so gone are the ways of putting data into spreadsheets and emailing your data to your chosen vendor partners. which still happens today, you guys. I was on a call with a dealer last week which told me he was manually exporting all his customer data, recreating reports to send to 4 vendors 3 times a day, and then emailing. That's a full-time job in itself. And think if any one of those emails fell into the wrong hands, you could be looking at thousands of dollars in fines right there. We also offer a $20 million cyber liability policy to all our dealer partners. We take pride in knowing you are trusting us with your data, and we understand the weight that goes into secure data handling. We've done research on other providers, and most don't even offer a fraction of the policy we offer to our dealer partners. The bottom line, you guys, strong data security should not require you to sacrifice your own data ship rights. So number 2 of the 5 reasons to safeguard your DMS data using DealerVault I want to talk about is visibility. I talk with so many dealers each and every day and know the average dealership uses anywhere from 5 to 10 different vendors at any given time. Using DealerVault is like a rear view mirror look back by allowing you to see what has been going on with your data. Alicia, do you want to take a deeper dive here?
Thanks, Michelle. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into specific features that DealerVault has that gives you visibility. So as Michelle said, the average dealer can have anywhere between 5 and 10 vendor partners. So for any of you that have vendors that you're currently providing data to, I challenge you to think about how much visibility you have into those feeds. So I spent 5 years in our client services department working closely with dealers. And one of the main reasons that they'll reach out to us is because they don't know what's going on with their data. But that's the beauty of DealerVault. You have visibility into everything associated to your account. But the problem is most dealers have never logged in to check it out. They don't know the visibility that they truly have. And that's probably because of our automated notification system. It alerts all associated parties when any action or requests are made. So when a vendor submits an order, you get a notification about that request. And any change you make in regards to a vendor feed, the vendor get notified. And if you have multiple users for that store, they get notified about the changes that you've made. So you have that auditing to know who's making changes and when. And we want to make sure that the correct parties are being notified when necessary. So as I said before, most dealers don't know the visibility that's available to them. So let's talk about that a little more. If you take a look at this graphic, this is an example of a dealer with active feeds. It lists all of their vendors, the feed types for that vendor, what schedule they receive those files on, the date of the first and last delivery, and even the record count. But the visibility doesn't stop there. So if you look in the bottom corner, you can view reports for your stores also. So you choose the vendor and the file type you want to see, and you can pull a report of all the files that were delivered to that specific vendor back 90 days. So you know exactly what data is being sent. There's 100% transparency. So let's take a look at our dashboard. Who doesn't love a dashboard? Nobody wants to waste time clicking from screen to screen to screen just to see what actions they need to take on their stores. And this is the first screen that you're going to see when you log into the DealerVault portal. So what are we looking at here? First, you have your feed approvals needed, which gives you visibility into any of the feeds that are pending your approval. In this particular example, it's all set. There's no action needed, so you see the green check mark. But if there were any pending feeds, you'd see a number count here. And clicking on Review Feeds is going to take you to a list of anything that needs your approval. And changes will never be made to your account without your approval first. We cannot stress that enough. You are completely in control of everything. The next thing you see here is your connection health, and that's going to be your lagging data indicator. If we haven't received updated data from you or your DMS provider, depending on your DMS, that's going to be shown here. So in this specific example, lagging data is occurring. So by clicking on View Connections, you're presented with a list of the vendor feeds that are not receiving updated data, meaning they're getting stale data. If you click on the calendar icon, that allows you to schedule an appointment with our team, and a member of our support staff is going to reach out to you on a designated date and time of your choice to assist you in doing whatever is necessary to get that data updated. And then, of course, you have your quick links. So what brought you to the portal today? If it wasn't approving a feed or checking out your connection health, Were you looking to add a store or add a feed? And clicking those is going to redirect you to the place you need to go. So we've talked about security, we've talked about visibility. Let's get into number 3, which according to our poll was the most important, and that's control. So you not only have visibility into your feeds, but everything is in your hands because like we said, this is your data. As demonstrated in the graphic, you can activate a feed with just a couple of clicks. Once you're set up on DealerVault, you're good to go. The data's there, and you can begin sending your data to the vendors that you see fit. So to add a feed, by simply clicking the button, select your vendor, select the file types you want to send to that specific vendor, and then click submit. And your part's done. It's that simple. So there's no more setting up a new data feed every time you partner with a new solution provider. You simply need to log into DV and add that feed. If your vendor isn't listed there, you don't need to worry about that. There's going to be a link right on the page that allows you to create a ticket with our sales team. So create a ticket with Michelle, and she's going to reach out to that vendor and get them set up on DealerVault. For any activated feed, there's an off switch that allows you to deactivate it at any time. So like Michelle was telling you earlier, there can be examples where a dealer doesn't realize that they're still sending data to a vendor that they're no longer using. Well, this off switch gives you that control to log in and deactivate that feed as soon as you're done utilizing it. To take it a step further, you also have control of the field. So if you look at the other graphic here, you'll see a list for all of the fields that a particular vendor is receiving for a particular file type. So you can check and uncheck any fields that you don't deem necessary for that vendor to receive. So it's giving you ultimate control. You're also in complete control of your onboarding when you first get set up on DealerVault. Our intuitive DVGo platform collects all the information needed up front from the most reliable source, which is you. DVGo is our onboarding tool, and its purpose is to collect the basic information about the dealership and establish your account on the DealerVault platform. So the location of the dealership, the vendor or vendors you're wanting to establish feeds for, and the DMS that's being utilized for specific stores. Before we developed DVGo, all that information was being collected from the vendor when they submitted an order for a dealership. So too often we were getting incorrect contact information or incorrect DMS types and wasting time reaching out to the wrong people at the dealership to establish feeds for a DMS they weren't even utilizing. So we thought, why not get the information from the people who actually know what's going on at the dealership, and that's the dealers themselves. So this webinar was narrowed down to dealers who are either currently using or have used DealerVault in the past. So a brand new setup won't be necessary. But in the event that you want to add another store, you can head back to DVGo and it'll take you through that simplified process to begin utilizing DealerVault for any additional stores you want. All right, so number 4, we're going to talk about access. You can access a DealerVault platform with a secure login. But before we dig deeper into this, I have a quick poll for you guys. And we're going to get to the results in just a minute, so go ahead and answer that whenever you have a moment, and I'm going to move on. So any of you Lord of the Rings fans out there are going to get this reference, and it's one login to rule them all. And that's the most simplified way to explain how a login and access with DealerVault works. So whether you have multiple stores or multiple vendors, you can manage them all with one secure login in one centralized location. So in the graphic shown, you can see an example of an account that has multiple vendors and multiple dealerships. So everything is laid out in a table view, which makes it easy and convenient for you to monitor the whereabouts of your data. You can also view these in individual store level as well. So let's get into the administrative access available. An admin for a dealership can control the users that are allowed to make changes or log into the portal for your account. The user management feature allows you to add new users, deactivate users in the event of a turnover, and manage the access that they have. So there's group level access in which you would have access to all of the stores. And in the event that you have a family of stores in the group, you can limit a specific user down to specific stores.
And then beyond that, there's a basic level access and an admin level access. The difference being that admins can access the user management feature. So let's go ahead and take a look at the poll results. So it's awesome to see that most of you know who your current admins are. For those of you that answered no, I encourage you to log in, take a peek, make sure everything's updated, and moving on. So number 5, innovation. Michelle, do you want to talk about how we strive for innovation to keep not only aligned but in front of things in the industry?
Of course. So here at Authenticom, we've been at the forefront of our industry since 2002, talking with dealers and vendor partners, and we've really tried to build with you in mind. We've created a one-stop shop for all the things that you're doing in your dealership. Some of your vendors might be doing your equity mining for you, or others are managing your websites and inventory. All your data is going to all these different places, and what we've done is created a solution for you so you can send your data once and then get back to selling cars. Don't worry about how your data is going to get to all these different partners you have. We've tried to do a great job at developing new features and functionality that help you streamline your business processes with all the things that are coming up in our industry. Our data opt-out tool alone was designed specifically for dealerships to help you keep up with the changing laws. These are your customers, and we believe it's your responsibility to protect them. Somebody comes into your dealership and says, hey, I don't want my information shared. You can log into erVault and opt out that particular individual. You can opt out a whole state if you'd like. Right now, log in and just select the entire state of California, and we will ensure that that data is not delivered to your vendor partners, so that it helps you. It's that extra layer of security for you to be compliant with these laws that are in place. This is a huge opportunity for you to build trust with your customers and bring them back in again and again, to buy their vehicles from you because they trust you with their information. Now, I know I said I'd talk about 5 things, but honestly, the best part of erVault is it's free. Most of the people on this call right now are dealerships. erVault is free to you. We've always stood behind the mindset that you own the data. It's your customers that are driving your businesses. You should be the one to say where it goes. And it's free to you. All these different features and functionality that we've incorporated into our platform can only help you streamline your operations. I don't know what more to say about that. How can you honestly turn down something that helps you, especially when it's free? So now, you guys, let's turn to a bit of Q&A. If you have questions, we kind of blew through that pretty quickly, but if you have questions, let's turn them into the Q&A, and we'll use the remaining time to get through as many of them as we can. Let's look here. What is the best way to get in touch with support? Alicia, would you like to answer that one?
Sure. The best way to get in touch with support can be using our chat feature that we have on our websites. You can also send a request to support@authenticom.com, which will create a ticket in our ticketing system. And then, of course, you can give us a call, but these chat and emailing support is going to be the best way to get through to us.
Great. How do you know what vendors you already work with to see if I can send my data to them? Alicia, do you want to grab that one?
Sure. If you log into the portal, when you go to add a feed, it brings up a list of all of the vendors that we currently work with. Of course, if it's not listed there, as I mentioned before, you can click the link on the add a feed page that will create a ticket with our sales team, and we'll reach out to that vendor and get them set up on erVault so you can begin sending data to them.
Great, thanks. Let's see what else we have here. You mentioned data hygiene available at the very beginning. What can you do for dealers? That's a great question. 40% of our annual revenue comes from data hygiene alone. We can help make sure you have the best data about your customers available to you. We do a lot of NCOA, merge, purge, CAS standardization, you name it. You can always check out listcleanup.com and learn more, or feel free to contact us after the webinar and we can talk more about your specific use case. You should get a notification of this webinar with our email on it. How do you make your money? Great question, especially coming from dealerships here. So one of the things that we do, we offer DealerVault free to you. We absolutely agree that you own the data. You should have the say to it. Our data feeds, we charge our vendor partners. Say you are sending your sales data to your partner on a monthly basis. That monthly feed is going to cost $25 per month to that vendor partner. When you start thinking about the certification costs alone in that arena, that's a huge win. We know, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, we know that a lot of these integration fees are passed down to a dealership. I was talking with a dealership, I think 2 weeks ago, and he told me, he said, I want to start using DealerVault because I know that this is going to be handed down to me. They received a bill, I think it was like $459 for a data integration fee with that vendor partner. Now, when you're talking about 400 some odd dollars versus 25, I mean, I would take the 25 if it was me. All right, what else? When a customer asks us to put them on a do not call list and we opt them out in our DMS, does this get exported into DealerVault, or do we have to manually input every do not call customer into DealerVault? Great question. Alicia, do you want to explain a little bit more about the back end on what actually gets transferred in that data field?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the first part of that, it depends on how your DMS system works and how they're handling opt-outs. If your DMS, whenever you opt them out in your system, maybe it doesn't even send it in a file, it'll automatically remove that. Otherwise, if you manually put it into DealerVault, it will automatically opt out that like the PII information of that specific record. So I guess that's the first part of that. You probably want to check with how your specific DMS is handling those opt-outs that you're putting in there, because it may not even be exported at all to us. But just for that extra layer of protection, you would need to put that into the opt-out feature, and then you would know for sure that it is not being exported to any of your third-party vendors.
Great, thanks, Alicia. All right, what other questions? Looks like we have a lot of duplicates here. I think that is, I do not see, it looked like a lot of redundancy in the questions here. So we'll give you guys just another couple seconds to put in any other questions you have. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and end the webinar early. Okay. Well, Alicia, I will give you the final word here.
Thanks, Michelle. So once again, thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope we got you excited about DealerVault. Head on over to the portal, log in, check out what's going on in your account. You will not be disappointed. We only went through a couple of our features that we have available. There's so much more. So if you're interested in a demo or more information, you can reach out to us. If you don't know how to get to the portal, you can head over to dealervault.com and you'll see login located in the top right corner. When you hover over that, just click on dealer and it's going to take you to your sign-on. And otherwise, feel free to hit us up on our chat. We'd love to answer any questions you have, or like I said, give you a demo if you're looking for a more detailed walkthrough of what's available to you. So thanks again, everybody, and I hope you have a great day.